Vertigo Films is a UK media company founded in 2002 to create and distribute commercially driven independent cinema. James co-founded Vertigo with Alan Niblo, with whom he has produced or exec produced 18 films, including The Football Factory, It's All Gone Pete Tong, The Business, Bronson, The Children, Oscar-nominated Ajami, the recent international hit Street Dance 3D, and soon to be, well, released on Friday, Monsters.
You know, films like The Business and other, you know, others of Nick's films clearly had an audience and there was a demographic. But there was a limit to that, and there was a limit to kind of how far we could push it. What happened was we realised that we were, I mean, hugely kind of dominating a sector in terms of the DVDs. I mean, the numbers in terms of kind of, you know, the rest of the business were insane. I mean, they were kind of the numbers that studios were getting for DVDs. So it really was quite kind of an odd thing for a little company like ours to be getting. However, we had more kind of, you know, global ambitions. We wanted, none of the films really played internationally. I mean, they sold internationally, but they didn't really play internationally. And also kind of creatively, there was, you know, over the last couple of years, things changed. So we kind of thought, well, what else do we want to be doing, and how else do we want to kind of change things? So in terms of genre, what happened was, I mean, personally for me, the last film I made before Street Dance produced was this film called The Children, and it was all about kids killing their parents. And I don't think I can go that much further in terms of like how dark I want to go as a producer. And I just thought I want to do something really fun. So I came up with this idea for Street Dance, and there was a kind of changeover point for the whole company, which basically was saying, you know, let's try and make films for a different demographic, and let's try and make films. This is actually quite, I mean, Eric Fellner from Working Title, just before Street Dance came out, he said to us, there'll come a moment in your life where you'll realise you need to start making films people want to see. And he said Street Dance will be that moment for you. There's a moment where you suddenly realise, oh, okay, so people like these kind of films. And what's interesting for us is that it's meant that the last kind of 8 years have really just been testing grounds for us. It's been like, you know, we've made, I mean, I think I've produced, I don't know what the number is now, 15 films. So that's quite a lot of films, but it's quite a lot of experience of what actually, you know, commercially is going to really work, and also what kind of creatively, you know, really excites me and my partner. And the two films that I think represent us now, of exactly the type of films that we want to go down, are Street Dance, Horrid Henry, The Sweeney, and kind of one area which will be slightly bigger budget, kind of films with a very, very targeted audience, and then a film like Monsters. And Monsters was very much, you know, that is in essence kind of everything we learnt about low budget filmmaking, and everything that we believed in terms of creatively, in terms of, you know, taking a director who hadn't done anything and just kind of taking a punt, but also just believing in a project, just kind of going, this is concept led. You know, Gareth basically came up to us with a line, you know, that was it. It's just like, I've got this low budget sci-fi movie I want to do, and we went, great, let's shoot it. As a company, we're completely concept led. So if someone says, listen, I've got this great idea, and we don't know anything about that person because we haven't seen their work, then that can be fine. If we just go, great, that's, you know, we think someone's going to go and watch that. Our distribution team and our sales team are ruthless about saying, that's not going to fucking work, you know, and they'll not always be right, but it gives you a sense as a producer to be very aware, and as a director to be very aware of kind of like what is out there in the big bad world, because, you know, when you go to places like the AFM and the film markets and stuff, you see how horrendous it is with 7,000 million films out there, and you've got to break through.
How important do you think it is? I mean, there's so much information. You know, you've got the whole power to the pixel. What is the new model for filmmakers involved in distribution? Do you think it's important that creatives are also very much engaged in that process.
Yes, it's a kind of, I do is the answer, but it's a slightly kind of two-way street, because some people are good at it, some people aren't, and nearly every director will say they're good at it, and producer will say they're good at it. Not everyone is, and they just have to, we all have to kind of accept that. There are certain projects that I'm absolutely rubbish on, and will be no use to making my comment on whether I think the poster is good or trailers. But if it's a certain world, a certain genre, that's something that I kind of feel comfortable in. So it slightly, it slightly depends. I think all filmmakers now, inevitably because of the internet and everything, are much more kind of marketing savvy than before, which is a great thing, and people are kind of aware. Fundamentally, it's less about the kind of involvement in the distribution, because if you've got a good distribution company who you rate and respect, they're good at their job, and you basically can just go, this is what I think, and you get involved in it, but essentially you let them run with it to a greater or lesser extent. But I think that the question now is kind of how involved are any filmmakers going to be in the whole distribution process, and kind of like as in physical distribution process. I think one thing is the marketing of it, which is its own world in itself, and it has a huge cost associated with it. But the other thing is being able to press a button and send your film down to everyone to go and watch. It's a fantastically brave new world. I have no idea where it's all going to lead us. I don't have any great answers. We're all kind of chucking around ideas and thoughts and trying things out and all the rest of it, none of which are making any particular sense at the moment. At the end of the day, hits work. It's that kind of thing. It's kind of like if people want to go and see it, and you have a really good campaign and you've got money behind it to push the campaign, hopefully that the films work. There are a lot of other issues, however. There are the bigger issues for us as distributors and as producers, are the fact that, for example, the exhibitors in this country pay less money to everyone else than the entire world. So, for example, the theatrical rentals, for example, in the UK is anywhere between 25 and 30% on average. The average global rentals is about 40 to 45%. So just the economics of that is insane. A film like Street Dance, for a company like ours, that's a difference of, I don't know, £2 million. Now that's £2 million is a lot of films that we could be making for that. So there are kind of like other kind of issues relating to distribution and exhibition that are not just the whole kind of, can we get involved in the internet? I'm dying for the point where we can just go bang, and everyone can watch our films, straight away. We're just not there yet, and there's you still need to sell the film, you still need to market it, and that is insanely expensive, and that's the biggest problem with distribution at the moment.
Does theatrical still matter?
Yes, it definitely matters, but it's unfortunately theatrical is pretty much a marketing tool for DVD and TV, and it shouldn't be. I mean, theatrical should be, if you make a big hit film, you should succeed out of it. But the economics are so against you that it doesn't make any sense. But it matters.